think so. What? I want my phone. You want it?
Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Thank you for being here. Um, and what everybody has said is so true. It is because you're here that I'm here. That events like this and like the Terry Fox, that cancer treatments have come so far, even in my lifetime, that my life 25, 30 years ago would have not been able to be as full, or I might not even be here. I remember when I did I did an MRI in my early treatments, and my auntie, my dad's sister, she had a similar cancer, and she died at 52. And I said, like, would she have had this treatment? They said, no, this didn't even exist. MRIs were just for your head. There wasn't a full body MRI, so they wouldn't have been able to see her tumor or where it was at that time. So her tumor was in unknown where it had originated or started. So thank you for you being here. Thank you for my family, my brothers, and my mom and dad. They're here, and for the community that has supported me throughout my journey the last 7 years. And thank you to Lauren Schramm for asking me. When Lauren called me, he said, you can think about it, Joy. I said, no, it's okay. I'll say yes right away. Because when Lauren Schramm thinks of you highly, then you just say yes. I think that there is it should be, thou shall not say no to Lauren Schramm, to Schramm. It is Schramm. He's a part of our community, and whoever Schramm thinks well of, I'm very honored. So my name is Joy Platform. I am a cancer survivor. I grew up in Pinawa. My family came here in 1973. I graduated from school here in 1988. And then, like graduates from here, I moved around and went to Winnipeg and Montreal and Alberta and Southern Ontario. And I moved around. But when I got sick, I came back here. And as I was writing this out, I was looking at how many times I said that I came back to Pinawa to heal. And I've come back to Pinawa. I always thought I would retire here, but I'm making my new life after cancer here and continuing. So it was 7 years this week that I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer, and on Facebook, you get this little posting sometimes that says your memories of this week or memories of this day, and I've been following, and it's been 7 years, and so I just saw on June 1st, that's when I got my posted and was out there, and I said, that's when I was diagnosed. I thought I had hemorrhoids, and I was bleeding from March to June, and I was just ignoring it. Even though I have a family history in my family of having cancer, both my brothers have had cancer as well. So all three of us kids, my poor mom and dad, have had cancer before 40. We just it's in our genetics. My auntie and all my dad's siblings of 5 also have had cancer. So even though I somehow in my head thought that I am not going to get cancer, that I'm going to be spared. But Cameron had testicular cancer 10 years before at the age of 24. Jonathan had colorectal at the age of 38, and I had colorectal cancer at 39. And I was living in Medicine Hat, and I was having stomach problems for several months, and I was losing weight without even trying, which darn, and bleeding. And I was really tired for a whole year before. And I went to my doctor, And I said, I just don't feel right. And she said, no, you just probably stress at work because I had a stressful job as a minister, and your diet and exercise more. And I was like, oh, okay, but I still don't really, I'm just tired. And then in March, and I thought, oh, I went to see a January, when Jonathan got diagnosed, I went to see a naturopath, and I was convinced I didn't have cancer, so I got a hair test and a spit test and all these things, and she said, oh, you don't have cancer. So in March, I thought, no, so I just thought, oh, the bleeding was just hemorrhoids, and I was taking some cream. And then Jonathan, the doctor, said, no, I want all the kids to get tested and have colonoscopies. And I asked my doctor, and I said, can I have a colonoscopy? And I have this other issue. And then she said, well, usually before 50, you don't have a colonoscopy. You're too young. And I said, well, the doctor in Manitoba said I need to have one. Oh, from my brother. I said, fine. And I went and I had my colonoscopy, and the doctor, after it was over, came out and said, do you have anybody here with you to drive you home? And I said, yeah, there was a gentleman from my church where I was the minister, and Walter. And I said, yeah, he's here. And so, well, can you get him? Okay. So I got him, and she said, he sat and he said, we found a tumor and we have done a biopsy. And you'll know in 10 days whether it's cancer or not. So, and that was June 1st, 2009, that I found out it was cancer. I had to give leave of my church job that I was in there. And I don't know, somehow my mind again, you're not really, I said, oh, I'll be back in 4 months. Yeah, I'll be back in 4 months. And when I went to see the oncologist 4 months later, because, you come and you have to get all your appointments and everything all straightened out, the oncologist said, no, Joy, you're going to be off for 14 months, if that. And it was a long 14 months that changed my life and changed the course of my life. The treatments and the time all seem like a past dream, but it was a hard time. But I've never felt so cared for, so loved by my family and my community, and by my friends far and near. There are many cards and flowers and treats and just special things that people would do or inquire, muffins and cookies and things that they also would do for my mom and dad to support us in soup. At my church, we had given us, my mom and I, both prayer shawls, which are hand crocheted or hand knitted blankets. So you just would put over your shoulders or your lap. And the intention is that it is made with love and prayer so that you would always feel enveloped in that prayer. And I know that PCF and other people have donated those to other ones that are made to cancer care in Pinawa here. So a little bit about my treatments. I had to have chemo and radiation. For radiation, I got my first and only tattoos. You get a tattoo right here on each hip. I had a dot, and that's how they line you up by a laser every day. And so I have but I can't find them anymore. They're just tiny little pinheads, like freckle dots. And then I would go for radiation, and every day I had 29 treatments, so about a month of going for every day for radiation, just getting zapped for 5 minutes. And the people at Cancer Care were just amazing. And I also had chemo for those 6 weeks straight. I had it in a camera bag, almost kind of thing, in a pump that you would carry around with you. And I had it going through my arm in a PICC line there. But again, at Cancer Care Manitoba, downtown, it's just an amazing place that, again, you think that you walk in there and it would be a depressing place, but it's light and bright, and the people are friendly, and the staff are so caring and supportive, and even the children that you see there, it doesn't, they're inspiring as well. And you feel a community and a camaraderie and love. I spent. So then I would come back to Pinawa to heal. This is going to be a refrain here. Come back to Pinawa to heal afterwards, after my treatments there. And I was going to have my thing to take out my tumor, a surgery to cut out my tumor. And I pre-op, I'm still thinking, you are still thinking, oh, this is all going to be fine. I'm just going to walk through this. And pre-op, I remember the doctor saying that I was going to have an ostomy, which is part or all of my colon removed and have it replaced with a bag that I wear here for my waste to come out. And Jonathan, my brother Jonathan, who's not here yet, I don't think, because I told him I was speaking at 2. I thought I might take. He has an ileostomy. He had all his colon removed. But I opted for a partial. But medical advances, even in that, have improved. That the plastic is more odor-proof. There's deodorizers. There is the technology that holds things on is much better than 50 or 100 years ago. People would have just had a bag or a tin can kind of harness thing, and you would have been socially ostracized and not go out and function anymore. But in that time, those decisions you have to make when you're going through cancer are kind of weird and strange. Whether it was to keep all my colon or to keep part of my colon or not all of my colon. And then the decision to whether have a pain pump or to have a spinal, it was, there's still those odd decisions still stand in my mind. And I had my surgery at St. Boniface, the same hospital as my brothers, and the same surgeon, Dr. Yaffe, and the same oncologist, Ralph Wong. I think we had the family rate. And the day of my surgery, that evening, afterwards, we found out that we would be having a wonderful addition to our family. My brother and sister-in-law would be welcoming Haley into their family, and we were so happy about that. And I remember waking up in the morning and seeing my doctor and saying, we're gonna have Haley, we're having a baby in our family, and Jonathan's getting married, and we're gonna have a wedding and a baptism. And he's like, yes, Joy, but how are you feeling? I'm like, oh, I'm fine. The drugs hadn't worn off yet. And I would recover from that surgery. I had 54 staples from here to here. Basically had my guts taken out and then cut off, and my bum muscles removed, and then I had it all put back in and sewn up. So I'm all back together again and functioning. I remember having a hospital visitor from Ostomy Society visiting me and saying that, how she went through this too, and would be there for support. And I remember calling an ostomy nurse when I was going home and recovering and saying, I hate my ostomy. I hate it. But I was alive, but I hate my ostomy. And she says, you don't have to like it, Joy, but you have to live with it. And that is the key word, that I am living, and I'm here. Again, I was at home in Pinawa to recover and to heal. And sometimes it feels like when you're going through treatments, it's like, hurry up, get over on this, Nick. Hurry up and then wait. Hurry up to get to the next part of your treatment and then wait. And then after that, in that time, I shared many things on Facebook, and I go back and I can see those things that I went through. I did my second chemo here in Pinawa. I had to do 8 rounds of chemo. And I had a port put in my chest here. And I have, I guess a scar that I have, is then you have a tube a needle that goes in here. And then you go for chemo, and it pumps just a millimeter at a time, and it goes into your bloodstream, and then it goes through your body. It goes in through your heart and into your body. And so I would have 5 hours in Pinawa. And then I would have 3 weeks off. And I would do that for 8 times. I remember being able, it was so nice to do it here at home because my parents didn't have to drive into the city. And my mom and dad, they could go back on their regular routine things and activities. And friends were close by, and the support system was here. And I remember one funny moment is that I was listening to an audiobook. I was listening to Stuart McLean while I was doing my chemo. And then I just started, laughing and crying. And while I was listening to Stuart McLean in the earphones, and someone else in the room said, "I want what she has in her chemo." But I remember by my 7th treatment, and it wasn't always easy. One time I ended up in the hospital because I was almost had pneumonia. Another time my blood count was too low. It was down to 0.4, my white blood cells, and I had to have my chemo delayed. And I remember one time that I wanted to just quit. And I said at my 7th, I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
But I didn't. That was Dr. Wong, and my mom wouldn't let me. And I did it my 8th treatment. And so here I am now. I've got not on my plan B in life, but maybe my plan G or H. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm a substitute minister. I'm studying to be an art therapist. I have my family and my friends, and I'm alive and healthy and well. So when I look out, I see all of you, and I see the love and the support and the healing that you have given to me and to other survivors and other people going through cancer. And I thank you. I thank you that you are here, and I thank you for this time and this day. And I thank you especially for my family. And blessings to you. Blessings and hugs. Thanks.
Thank you, John.